Played by the Cougs. That's going to be a hitting error off the hands of Shersty Strong. Back-to-back points for Loyola Chicago.
Yeah, Shersty Strong has seen a lot of involvement in these first couple points for BYU. Just couldn't get that one wrapped around the antenna. So hitting error there for her.
Janovic back behind the service line again. 3 service aces a week ago. As that one goes long. 3 in a row for Loyola Chicago. They're up 5-3. Huge swing and a finish from Shersty Strong on the slide. Five to 4 as BYU looks to cut into this lead. Macy Short on the serve, set down the line. Big swing and a finish from Olivia Lovett, the 5'11" senior from Lenexa, Kansas. 198 digs this season, but man, can she hit the ball on the outside. Six to 4. Tooling it off the block of Loyola Chicago. In the middle for BYU. Shersty Strong one more time. Excuse me, that was Brielle Kemivore. Into the block, kept alive by Loyola Chicago. Tapped over by Sitkovich. Sitkovich taps it over. BYU's not able to keep it off the floor. Marta Sitkovich with her first kill of the matchup. Loyola Chicago leads 7-5. Anne-Marie Remis from behind the service line for Loyola Chicago. And that one is terminated out of the hands of Brielle Kemivore. All Big 12 performer in the middle for the Cougs. All smiles for BYU as they now down 7-6. Back to serve for BYU is Claire Little. First team all Big 12, and you can add a service ace to the tally, and we're tied at 7. Little 419 kills this season, 3rd in the Big 12, 3.92 kills per set. 7-7. Down the line. That one is a little bit long out of the hands of Marta Sitkovich, so point BYU as they take a 1-point advantage, 8-7 now. Little sends it away. Loyola just has to get it over. Free ball for the Cougars. Set up at the net for Mortensen. Mortensen gets it over, but good defense there by Loyola Chicago. Down the line. Pryor's not able to find the floor. Back up front. Finds the range in the back row. Point Loyola Chicago. Just splitting the defense there in the front row. Both these teams pumped up here early on in set number 1. Big swing from Pryor. Free ball for Loyola Chicago. For BYU. Brielle Kemivore with a hammer, putting a dent in the floor, her 3rd early on here in set number 1. 9-8.
Kemivore with a 1,000 hitting percentage now for BYU. She is on the attack now.
Now the libero, Lulu Ulave, sending it away. Huge swing on the outside for Marta Sitkovic. Sitkovic looking good here early on for Loyola Chicago, and now Sitkovic heads back behind the service line.
Yeah, Sitkovic has not missed yet for Loyola as well, so Sitkovic and Kemavor are currently going hit for hit here.
Service error there from Sitkovic. Sitkovic from Croatia, the grad student, top 10 in the A10 in kills per set, assists per set, and points per set. A little bit short on that one, so 10-9 now as BYU has the serve, and Hannah Billiter, the 5'11 junior from McKinley, Texas. Some confusion. Loyola Chicago gets it over. Up into the seats. Tapped over. Off the block of BYU. Still playing it is Loyola Chicago. Joust at the net. Somehow Loyola Chicago keeps it up. On the slide. Off the block. Shersty Strong has been electric for BYU early on.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago has forced themselves to get creative and trying to go around the blocks, but BYU is still just killing it through.
Strong first in the Big 12 in blocks with 164, but her offense has been the story here. But a response from Loyola Chicago and Espa Janovic as she splits the block and puts one on the floor.
Yeah, right through the middle seam there for Janovic. And so Loyola Chicago now within one, 11-10.
Chicago native Sam Falk sending it away. BYU keeps it off the floor. Free ball for Loyola Chicago. And the Ramblers run into the block of the Cougars. A combination of Mortensen and Strong with the defense.
Yeah, it's really difficult when you've got two really tall middle blockers going against you, and if you're not going to mix up your touches with a lot of heavy swings, then they're just going to try and hang up there and get those to those touches.
Big swing off the hands of BYU. Another kill for Lovett, her second. Right along with 3 digs. Bree Borum now with 4 digs and 7 assists. Keep an eye on the assist from Borum. She's been an assist machine for Loyola Chicago this season. Swing and a finish out of the hands of first team all Big 12 Claire Little.
Yeah, Claire Little, fantastic player. All Big 12 first team. She's third in the Big 12 in kills per set. She's just under 4 for the season in kills per set, but she is a fantastic outside hitter, the sophomore from Winchester, California.
Good enough for 68th nationally. We need all of that from her here this afternoon. A quick set and finish. Anne-Marie Remis with her first kill of the matchup. It's 13-12.
And that was a very creative set, just getting way down there, popping it just over the net. And Remis was able to put that one away, but that's the creativity that Bree Borum brings to this Loyola Chicago team. This is why she's one of the best setters in the country, why she was the best setter in the A10.
Big swing and a finish from Claire Little. 14-12 after Little's big swing. See Brielle Kemavor coming back into the game. Alex Bauer coming in as well, all Big 12 rookie. From Nampa, Idaho, Skyview High School. 5'11 freshman. Sends it away. And the freshman was a little bit long, a service error for BYU. Their first, both teams now with 1. A10 second team Anne-Marie Remis sends it away, and Anne-Marie Remis with the service ace. Tied at 14. Remis also hitting .365 this season, 5th in the conference. 105 blocks, 5 for state in the conference championship. Sent long out of the hands of Kemivore. Loyola Chicago retakes the lead 15-14.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago going out on a little run here. We'll have a timeout on the floor, but right now Loyola Chicago on a 3-0 scoring run, and they have looked fantastic. They're starting to figure out the BYU defense.
Back and forth, both these teams go. We are in the midst of set number 1. We'll be back here in just a moment on ESPN+. Welcome back inside Holloway Gymnasium in West Lafayette, Indiana. Loyola Chicago leads BYU 15-14. Hitting 208 here early on in set number 1. Tapped over, BYU's able to keep it up. That one sails long, no touch out of the hands of Claire Little, and Loyola Chicago with a 2-point advantage.
Yeah, BYU is just on a little bit of a skid right now. They just can't get it going. The offense isn't clicking. The defense on the serves hasn't been the best.
BYU stuffed at the net. Avery DeBleek, 7 blocks versus Dayton. She gets a huge one right there. BYU is going to call a timeout. Down 3 here in set number 1. We'll be back in 60 seconds here on ESPN+. Chicago looking to pull the upset here on the 5 seed BYU, 17-14 here in set number 1. Greg Combs and Max Burry here. Thank you for joining us on ESPN Plus for this opening round matchup. In the NCAA Championships as Brielle Kemivore finds the floor, her 4th kill of the matchup.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need to do when you're BYU. If you're ever in a rut, you got to go to your best players, and Brielle Kemivore is certainly their best player attacking-wise. 8th in the Big 12 in hitting percentage. She was all Big 12 first team. She is a force to be reckoned with in the middle.
Joust at the net, won by Bree Borum. The 6-foot senior from Sterling, Illinois, put it back into the lap of the Cougs.
Man, is she fun to watch. I mean, she's a great setter. She's got a really high hit percentage on the attack, and she's a great defender. She won a joust over 2 BYU middle blockers.
Hitting error from the Cougars as that one goes out of bounds, 19-15 now. And Loyola Chicago is playing well here in set number 1.
Yeah, and BYU just 9 kills to 6 errors, a hitting percentage of .069 right now for them. That is not a number that they are used to seeing that far down. Usually they're hitting a .261 mark, which is best for 33rd in the country.
Another hitting error from BYU as that one doesn't go where they're looking for, 20-15. Loyola Chicago feels very comfortable
on the attack, but right now your outside hitters are kind of just trying to do too much. They're trying to be a little bit too technical. I think they just need to go back to basics, just try and have strong swings to the middle of the court, which is where Loyola has actually been the weakest right now. So they just need to get back to basics, just try and get the ball over the net and onto that middle of the floor on the Loyola side.
Borum sends it away, and right out of the timeout, Ajanovic with the finish, 21-15.
Yeah, and the serve receive has not been good for BYU, to say the least, and that one was a mistake again, and that one just went over the net. It was a free point for Loyola, essentially.
Wonderful dig from Borum. Back to Ajanovic. Oh, sneaky. Alex Bauer, the veteran move from the freshman, just sliding that one right in front of the laps of the Ramblers.
Yeah, very smart touch there from the freshman Alex Bauer. I mean, she was the Big 12. She earned the All Big 12 rookie team. She was 5th Big 12 in assists per set. I mean, she's a fantastic player, and she's a very creative mind.
Over 1,100 assists for the freshman this season. BYU looks to go back-to-back. Mortensen tooling that one off the block of the Ramblers, 21-17.
Yeah, that one found a little bit of air between the seam of the blockers, and BYU starting to get a little bit back into it, a little bit more basic, a little bit more creative.
Lulu Lavi and Shersty Strong on the floor, subbing in for the Cougs. And the finish from Avery DeBleek. DeBleek with her first kill of the matchup. 22-17 now here in set number 1. Ramblers looking to get this set 1 victory. Marta Sitkovich to send it away. 182 digs this season. Ramblers keep it up. Short set at the net, and the finish. Back-to-back kills for Avery DeBleek, 23-17.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago is just feeling it right now. They are just going ballistic with the kills. Heavy swings to the back line, smart touches in the front. Just fantastic play all around this first set.
Hoping for something. BYU answers with the kill. Off some fingers of the Ramblers, 23-18. Anna Billiter back to serve for BYU. And somehow the Ramblers are able to keep it alive. Into the block of the Ramblers and on the floor out of the hands of Shersty Strong. Strong with her 5th kill of the matchup.
Yeah, and that knuckleball serve pretty much set that entire thing up. The poor reception, and just had to give a free ball to BYU, which is always going to cash in.
Free ball again for BYU after they've had some struggles handling the serve. Two hits was the call. 24-19 as the Ramblers get the point. But Heather Olmstead wants to challenge the call. She pulled the green card out as Loyola Chicago was getting ready to see set point in here in set number 1.
Yeah, that one was a bit of a strange one. I thought it may have been a net touch with how much it was vibrating after the ball hit it, but the 2-touch may have.
I think they were talking about the initial set. I think the set is where they're calling the off the tape. Want to point this out as well. BYU is also out of timeouts here early on in set number 1. After video review, the call is confirmed. It was 2 touches, so 24-19. is actually, excuse me, they reversed the call. So they're going to say there wasn't 2 touches, so BYU gets the point. It's not set point. Loyola Chicago gets it over, 23-19. Might have been a little bit of what BYU needed, the break, the call. Back-to-back points for BYU. It's 23-20, and that's going to draw a timeout from Loyola Chicago as Amanda Berkeley wants to talk about it.
Yeah, just a kind of an interesting thing. That may have been a point replay because I didn't see another point get added to BYU. I think they may have just replayed that point at the beginning, but I'm not quite sure. But BYU comes out of that challenge. It almost serves as kind of a 3rd timeout for BYU just to try and reset and try and settle themselves and pull themselves back into this first set.
Great job on my partner catching that there, as a point wasn't awarded, just a replay of the point. But in any event, it's 23-20 here in set number 1. It seems like set number 1's been going on for 2 hours. Both these teams back and forth. BYU starting to pick up a little bit in the hit percentage column, hitting 162 now. We're hitting under 0 earlier on. Loyola Chicago still at 265. BYU still struggling on the side out, only at 54.2%.
Yeah, and but this is the kind of volleyball you get in the tournament. This is some really, really high-level volleyball. It's high-flying. It's fast-paced. Everything that you want in a volleyball match, you're getting here. But BYU starting to pull themselves back into it. I would expect them to probably try and take a couple more points and maybe not expect to win this set, but at least have some positives to take into the next.
So coming out of the timeout, BYU is in the midst of a 3-0 scoring run. They've seen themselves down in the majority of the set number 1, trying to climb all the way back, try to get this set 1 victory over Loyola Chicago. Hannah Billiter sends it away, and out of the timeout, a service error, the second of set number 1, gives the Loyola Chicago Ramblers set point here in set 1, and that brings the faithful that came down from Chicago to support the Ramblers to their feet as they're looking for a victory here against the 5 seed BYU Cougars. Sam Falk sends it away. Service ace out of the hands of Falk. Ends set number 1, 25-20. Wow, what a way to end the set.
Just inexplicable miscommunication from BYU there, just on the, I mean, obviously the serve coming off, you can't misplay that, but then a miscommunication to give Loyola Chicago the set.
We step away for just a moment. Set 2 coming up here on ESPN+.
Strong is hitting at 571 right now for the hitting percentage. Kemavor is at 333. Strong's got 5 kills and Kemavor's got 4. They've been much better on the attack than everybody else, and they've been providing some solid defense for BYU.
Yeah, we saw it early on in set number 1. They were going to Shersty Strong a lot, and then it was like they went, the Cougars went away from her. We'll have to see if they decide to go back to her here and rely on her steady arm in set number 2. Hannah Billiter gets us underway here. And a bunch of the same as Esma Janovic off the hands of the Cougars for the first point of set number 2.
Yeah, Billiter just couldn't dig that one. It was just too high for her, and she came a little bit too forward into the middle of the court, and just tough for BYU coming out of that first set to lose the first point.
That one went off some fingertips out of the hands of Shersty Strong, and going to Strong here early on to tie this one up at 1. Strong now with 6 kills on 8 attempts. Go along with 2 blocks. That one doesn't have enough to get over. Another service error for the Cougars. Their 3rd gives the ball back to Loyola Chicago.
Yeah, Mortensen is not having her best game, and she definitely expects a lot more from herself just generally, but right now just hitting at a 125 percentage with that service error now, just not working for her today.
Up front, Lovett just has to tap it over. Off the block of the Cougs. Another swing there from Claire Little. Wasn't able to get it on the first one, so she tried again and was able to put it down.
Yeah, if you don't succeed at first, try again, and just off the hands of Ramis there, and that's what BYU has to do. They got to take some strong swings to the outside hands just so they can get a couple tips, and hopefully those deflections are going to help them out a bit, but you can see it in their swings right now. They're trying to attack the middle of the court a lot more than they were in the first set. 4th
service error of the game out of the hands of Macy Short. Quickly gives the ball back to Loyola Chicago. Lave comes in the libero spot. Brielle Kemavor rotating in as well for the Cougars in the front row. Olivia Lovett to send it away. Tapped over. Quick hands at the front of the net by both teams. Finished at the net from Bree Borum. She thought about that one almost in the air and was like, nope, I'm gonna take this one myself.
So creative. She went up mid-jump. She actually switched from the set to the swing. Fantastic play, and this is why she is Loyola Chicago's rally man, and she is fantastic when she is this creative.
2 kills, 11 assists, 5 digs, and 1 block for the senior. That one goes a little bit long. 2nd service error of the matchup for Loyola Chicago. Gives the ball back to Brigham Young. Alex Bauer back to serve. two-time Big 12 Rookie of the Week this season. What a dig from the libero Falk. BYU with another opportunity. Somehow kept alive. And the finisher at the net. What a series of events finished by Loyola Chicago.
Well, there's nothing like good offense, like fantastic defense. Two incredible digs and the throwdown from Bree Borum. Again, she just sees the court differently than everyone else.
Borum able to sneak that in behind the much taller block of the Cougars. And another service error for Loyola Chicago, their third. 5-4 here early on in set number 2.
And Loyola Chicago's got to cut back on those service errors if they want to stay ahead in this game. You cannot be giving away free points to BYU especially.
No, and that can be attributed to the success in set number 1. That one is finished again at the net by Ellie Mortensen. Mortensen with 3 kills, 1 assist, and 2 digs, and a block. We are tied at 5. Tooling that one off the block is Marta Sitkovich. Sitkovich with her 4th kill of the matchup.
Really good swing there. She's averaging just under 3 kills a set in the regular season, but she has come out ready to play today, hitting .333, 5 kills, just to 1 error thus far.
Out of the back row, didn't find a touch. Point Loyola Chicago 7-5. As BYU's hitting struggles continue. Set and finish. Blakely Bobick coming in, getting some time off the bench. 69 kills this season for Bobick. 39 sets played, make it 40 here. The libero, Ulave sends it away. Off the block, but playable for BYU. Nice defense for the Ramblers. Borum tried to sneak one over again, but BYU was ready this time. The end of the back row from the libero. Wasn't ready for Avery DeBleek. DeBleek getting her 3rd kill of the matchup.
Yeah, and they caught the freshman Bauer out in a bad position, just went straight on the attack at her and ended up winning that point. And Loyola Chicago is really exploiting BYU's mistakes right now.
Dug by Borum. Back up front, nice job out of the back row for BYU to keep it up. Down the line and finish out of the hands of Blakely Bobick. Getting her 2nd kill of the matchup.
Yeah, I think BYU's trying to flip things around. They're getting Bobick a lot of touches now, and she just subbed out now, but 2 kills for her in this match, and she has been, honestly, the best outside hitter that BYU has had this match.
Kaiva Johnson and Blakely Bobick are 2 reliable players coming off the bench for BYU. We've seen Bobick. One more time, Esma Ajanovic. 6th kill of the matchup for Ajanovic. And Max, it just seems like any time BYU tries to climb back in, that Loyola Chicago has the answer.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago's doing a really good job of keeping BYU at bay.
3-11 hitting for Loyola Chicago as a team. The front line is standing strong for the Ramblers. Somehow kept alive. Pinballs around. But BYU able to finish out of the hands of Ellie Mortensen. What a back and forth, finished off by the Cougs.
Yeah, BYU got Loyola Chicago off platform there, and Loyola Chicago was scrambling just to keep that thing off the ground, but ultimately the block and the deflection was too much to handle for the Ramblers.
Two hits is called, excuse me. BYU will take it as they tie this one up at 9. As the pressure starts to build, you have to be ready. You have to not make those kind of mental errors. Saw BYU making those errors earlier on, and there's another one right there. Service error into the net, the 5th of the matchup for BYU. Gives the ball back to Loyola Chicago.
Just too much risk reward right now for BYU. The 5 service errors have really cost them. I mean, if you just take away the 5 service errors, they've got 5 more points, most likely. Loyola Chicago won the last set by 5.
Almost another service ace there, but terminated on the outside by Claire Little. We're tied at 10.
Claire Little starting to put more of a stamp on this game. She's had a lot of attempts that have not come to fruition, but now she's at 4 kills, and she did have 3 errors earlier and just an .059 hitting percentage, but she's been playing better in this second set.
Well, and you saw the sophomore before that telling her team, let's go, and we have to keep this momentum here, but another service error for BYU, their 5th. As the errors are starting to pile up as we make our way here close to the midway point of set number 2. And the service ace from Olivia Lovett. The 3rd service ace of the matchup for Loyola Chicago.
I mean, if you had to pick a weakness for BYU, it is serve receptions and serving just generally. They're not up there in the service aces per set, and they're definitely struggling with the receiving error. And it's a net violation on BYU, just more mistakes and compounding.
Yeah, into the net is the call. We'll give the Ramblers a 3-point advantage. A lot of confusion from BYU. Nothing confusing about that. Little finding the floor, her 5th of the matchup. BYU now hitting 200 as a team. Strong and Little trying to keep the Cougars in this. Hard swing tooled off the block. Marta Sitkovich with her 5th of the matchup.
Yeah, solid block attempt from BYU. Just didn't fall their way. But really the blocking has been subpar, to say the least, for BYU this match. And they've only had 2, and they average over 2.5 a set. And we're halfway through the second.
Keeping that up. Nice job by Mortensen out of the back row. Little kept off the floor by the Ramblers defense. Again, Loyola Chicago playing out of this world. But a response from Brielle Kemivore as she says, let's go. 14-12.
Fantastic job by Kemivore. I thought she had made a little bit of a mistake setting it over on the first touch. But then Borum tried to fit it through an area, but Kemivore, rejection at the net.
Kemivore trying to breathe some life into her team here. 14-12.
Big swing there from BYU. Trying to pull themselves back into the game now. 14-13 for Loyola Chicago. But again, they've just got to cut down on these service errors, and just more simplicity for BYU is definitely the key. Tried to get too creative on that one was Bobbick, who just tried to touch it over but couldn't get it quite over. As we will head to a timeout on the floor, but a fantastic job by Loyola Chicago thus far in the match. It's 15-13 in the second set here on ESPN+. 51 mark the entire season. Right now, it just isn't working. It's gotten a little better in the second set here, but still, they've got to get rid of those just kind of mental errors almost, just miscommunications, poor serving. The things that really are giving away free points are really costing them.
17 total errors, 11 attack, and 6 service for BYU. Not what the Cougars were looking for coming here this weekend. Trying to get back into this one out of the media timeout. No touch. Out of play, point BYU, 15-14. Lulu Lave back to serve for BYU. Lave with 6 digs in the matchup. Big swing's gonna find the floor. 16-14 after the big swing from Lovett.
Yeah, huge swing from Olivia Lovett, and she hasn't gotten a ton of touches in this game. Just 2 kills to her name thus far.
Sitkovich with the changeup, but BYU was able to play it. Nice dig from Borum. Stuffed at the net. Shersty Strong with the solo block.
Yeah, Strong just going up and using those strong hands. Keep that ball on the Rambler side of the net. And that's exactly what BYU has to do. Better blocking and better form. Much better there from Shersty Strong.
16-15 now. Billiter sending it away. Tooling it off the block and finishes is Avery DeBleek. Her 4th kill of the matchup to go along with the block.
Yeah, and that was set up by a very great set from Bree Borum, just setting it perfectly, just about a foot over the net. Honestly, it was almost too easy for DeBleek.
DeBleek also hitting 500. Loyola Chicago keeps it up, tapped over. The block and finished by Olivia Lovett. Lovett with her 3rd kill of the matchup, and that is gonna draw a timeout from Heather Olmstead as for the 2nd set in a row, down here again in set number 2. But a response from Shersty Strong one more time, her 7th kill of the matchup to go along with 3 blocks.
Yeah, Shersty Strong has been the best player on BYU by far. Really nice set there from Bauer to set up Strong. And she's hitting 500 now with 7 kills and 1 error on 12 attempts. And she's having an incredible match.
Brielle Miller coming in, the Orem, Utah native. Gonna dig there. That one is out of bounds. Point Loyola Chicago, it's 19-16. A tough break there as Claire Little thought she'd found the floor.
Yeah, I think Little was trying to go for just a slight deflection off the block from the Ramblers there, but just didn't get it. It was maybe hit it on the outside of the hand a little bit too much as it had that right to left spin on it, forcing it to go out.
Esma Janovic. And now a free ball after there was some confusion. A joust at the net, won by Shersty Strong. Strong with her 8th kill of the matchup. Leading her team in kills as she takes a seat here and gets some love from her teammates on the sideline.
Yeah, and that was a bad mistake from Loyola Chicago. That was a free ball, and just the reception and the set was not good, and that enabled the BYU blockers to get involved.
Macy Short on the serve, and that one is finished off. Kill on the outside. Olivia Lovett having herself a nice day here.
Yeah, Lovett's having a great game, and that was a fantastic swing right there. And she will head to the service line now for the Ramblers. And she's already got a service ace under her belt.
The flat-footed serve. And that one is dominated and finished by Brielle Kemivore. I'm surprised we haven't heard her name a little bit more here this afternoon. She's been dominant in the middle. 20-18, Kemivore with her 5th kill of the matchup to go along with a block. 10th nationally in blocks per set is Kemivore at 1.49. And another service error, the 7th for BYU, and it's 21-18. Another timeout taken by Heather Olmstead as she would like to talk about it. She will take her last timeout. We saw her take both timeouts in set number 1, now both timeouts here in set number 2. BYU trying to climb back in. Look at the service errors in comparison there, Max. I know you talked about it a little bit at the beginning of set number 2, and if half of those points, are back for BYU as a point as opposed to an error, it's 22-21 here, and you're looking at a different kind of a game.
Yeah, and you can argue semantics. Oh, you're giving away the free points. That's more the issue. You're not challenging Loyola Chicago to make a play, to go get that point for themselves. You're just handing it to them, which has really put them down by quite a bit this game. And 21-18 in the second set. They were down by almost 5, I believe, in the first set. I mean, it just has not been a great look. They need to get those middle blockers more involved, because Strong and Kemavor have looked great on the attack. But right now, they're just trying to feed it to the outside, and it's just not working.
And also on the other side, if you're Loyola Chicago, you have to keep your foot on the gas, right? I mean, you saw inside of their huddle a lot of smiles, a lot of good feelings right now. Up 21-18 already with the set 1 victory. You don't want to take your foot off the gas if you're Loyola Chicago and open the door back up for BYU.
100%. And Loyola Chicago, to their credit, has gotten rid of those service errors. They had 3 early on, but in the past, 10 to 20 points, not really much has been going on in terms of the mental errors.
Remis gets saved there, but then a block at the net from Avery DeBleek. Her second of the matchup. Couldn't come at a better time, 22-18.
Huge block from the Ramblers, just shutting down Kemavor. And just when I said that they needed to get those middle hitters involved more, then they immediately shut it down.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago says, no, sir. Down the line, Ramblers keep it up. Back to Little. Utilized at the net. Tooling it off the block and finishing is Marta Sitkovich. Her 7th of the matchup. Loyola Chicago inching ever closer.
Yeah, really nice swing, and Kemavor just couldn't get over there and kind of had bent hands trying to block that. That never usually goes well, but a much better hit there from Kemavor, just going to that back corner.
6th kill of the matchup for Kemavor after a monster swing, put a dent in the floor. Trying to keep the Cougars in this one at 23-19. Little now back to serve. At the net, off the block of BYU, but the Cougars play it. Big swing and a finish. Blakely Bobick. 23-20.
Yeah, big swing there, and really the setting is getting much better as the set goes along, just trying to kind of fool the net defenders for Loyola, but another 3-point given away.
8th service error of the matchup. 24-20 in Loyola Chicago for the second set in a row. We'll see a 24-20 set point. Looking to go up 2-0 on the 5 seed. Into the block and out of bounds, point BYU. Blakely Bobick got a cannon for a right arm.
And now BYU really has to dig deep. You do not want to drop the second set in a row, because then Loyola's really gonna start feeling it.
Lulu Olave sends it away. Gets it over. Set. Finished at the net. Avery DeBleek puts a cap on set number 2. And Loyola Chicago takes a 2-0 advantage over the 5 seed Brigham Young Cougars.
Yeah, picture perfect set. Huge swing from DeBleek. Just getting it right into the hands of Strong, who just couldn't force her way through it.
An upset brewing in West Lafayette. We'll be back here in 5 minutes on ESPN+. Quietly hitting .625 on 5 of 8 swings. Loyola Chicago really trying to make an example here.
Yeah, and if there's any team that can tell you about don't doubt a team on a win streak, it is definitely Loyola Chicago. They were on a 17-game win streak last season, 12-game win streak right now in this season. and they won in this building against a very formidable Purdue team last year as well, who they may meet in the next game in the round of 32 in this building again. And also, the other matchup they could pull, if they pull through, is Western Michigan, who they faced earlier this season, who they actually lost to at Western Michigan. So that would be a bit of a revenge game for Loyola.
Reminder also to our viewing audience here on ESPN Plus, this is game 1 of the NCAA Volleyball Championships here that start today. First game of the tournament here. Insane way to start the tournament, an opportunity for an upset. And again, we talked about the possibility of that second round matchup, whoever that may be for Loyola Chicago, if they're able to finish off BYU here in set number 3. But it would be crazy to have a rematch between Loyola Chicago and Purdue. Again, the last time these two teams met on this floor a year ago, 16th ranked Purdue was being upset by unranked Loyola Chicago. And Amanda Berkeley would really like to have that.
Yeah, and right now the Loyola faithful all came down from Chicago. They're starting to feel it now. 2-0 on BYU, a team that Loyola Chicago has never played. This is the first ever matchup between the two.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago's fans really traveled well down here to West Lafayette, only about 2 hours and 20 minutes from Chicago. Kept up in the back row, off the block with the hands of Lovett. Sneaky, but Loyola Chicago was ready. Out of bounds, point BYU. Tough break there for Loyola Chicago, but an opening of the door for BYU as Macy Short rotates in. Short looking to make a mark here. Little and Kemivore in the middle, up front. Set and finished. Out of the hands of Avery DeBleek. DeBleek with her 6th kill of the matchup, now 6 of 9.
Yeah, DeBleek quietly putting together quite an impressive game. 667 on the hitting percentage today with 6 kills, 0 errors.
Somehow kept alive over on the other side of the net of the Cougars. That one was tapped a little bit too far out of the hands of Brielle Kemivore. Point Ramblers.
I don't know how Loyola Chicago got a point out of that, but that was incredible.
Active hands, active feet on the floor for the Ramblers. Try to go back to back. Little caromed off the block, kept up by Borum. Tapped over, kept up. Ulave to Little. Nice job out of the back row for the Ramblers. Back and forth, both of these teams go. A long rally here. Finished by Esma Janovic. Her 7th kill of the matchup after a long rally.
Yeah, Janovic just going to that wide outside corner. Saw a little bit of space in the court and took it. Loyola Chicago firing on all cylinders right now.
3-1. Add a service ace to the tally. The 4th of the matchup gives the Ramblers a 4-1 lead here in set number 3. It's going to draw a timeout from Heather Olmstead, who wants to talk about it. Wait just a moment, hold on.
I believe Heather Olmstead was just trying to make a sub, and I think Loyola Chicago just got a little too excited that they were getting on a big run.
Loyola Chicago getting excited. The play-by-play broadcaster got excited because I saw everyone running off the floor, but play resumes here in West Lafayette. As that one sails long. Now a timeout is called by Heather Olmstead, 5-1. Here in set number 3, Loyola Chicago on fire, trying to complete the upset and win their first tournament game here on ESPN+. They're BYU and Loyola Chicago. As I've said a couple of times here early on here, this is the first and only game going right now in the NCAA tournament. And it has been an exciting one, 5-1 early on. Somehow kept up off the floor. and sailed a little bit too long out of the hands of Lovett. Point BYU, 5-2, ends the 5-0 scoring run for the Ramblers.
And that was a heck of a dig from Falk. Just Lovett just not able to fit that into the corner. And I think we've got a little bit of a open wound here for Loyola Chicago. Battle scars.
Looks like the 5'7" freshman from Cedarburg, Wisconsin, Jay Fitting. Fitting with well, I mean, it is a battle scar. 244 digs this season. A lot of digging happening out of the hands of Fitting. It's a nice saying, too. You got the sweat and the tears already, but a little bit of blood never hurt anybody. But they're going to take a look at the Terraflex and try to get the plasma cleaned up off the floor here at Holloway Gymnasium. The Purdue Boilermakers, the host team here for this quadrant. Spent a little bit of money in the offseason for the new Terraflex floor. A nice addition here at Holloway Gym.
Everyone pointing around at the spot.
I think I see one there. I think I see one there.
It's like a dog that just found their bone that they buried 3 years ago.
Starting to heat up here a little bit. You got the Loyola Ramblers cheerleading squad that made their way down here from Chicago. A great crowd out here today. You know, both these teams, away teams essentially, making the journey, and there's a large number of Loyola Chicago fans here that have come out here to support the Ramblers. So after we get the plasma cleaned up on aisle 3, we're set to resume play, 5-2. Tapped over, kept alive by the Ramblers. Back to Lovett. Ulave to the front of the net, off the tape. Ramblers play it. Terminated! Anne-Marie Remis, her second kill of the matchup, 6-2.
Yeah, and Remis just fit that right through Kemavor, and actually Addie Benson was the other blocker going up there, but able to fit it right through the seam. They didn't close that gap too wide, and Remis took advantage.
Janovic almost had a service ace there, but another attack error for the Cougars, and that one sails out of play. A 5-point advantage now for Loyola Chicago. They are already up 2-0 here in this opening round matchup. The 2024 NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships here on ESPN Plus, ESPN family of networks. As that one's terminated on the outside by Claire Little. Trying to keep her team in this one. Little with 6 kills and 7 digs here in the matchup.
Yeah, and Claire Little is just kind of struggled more or less today. 6 kills to her name, but 4 errors and 28 attempts, is hitting .071. But that is kind of the status quo for BYU today. There's only one player hitting over 275, and that's Strong at 500.
BYU hitting 140 as a team, but Loyola Chicago hitting near 250 as that one finds the floor. 8-3 now. As Loyola Chicago keeping their foot on the gas, trying to pull away here. As that one into the net. First service error of set number 3. Only the 4th for Loyola Chicago here through 3.
They've done a really good job at not giving away their points. They've done a really good job, almost, you know, sounds kind of cliche, but cherishing those free points that BYU's giving them.
Somehow kept alive by Loyola Chicago. They get it over, a free ball for BYU. A joust at the net. Over the net is called on the Ramblers. So point BYU, it's 8-5 now.
I was stunned that that was kept up by Bree Borum, but joust the net, BYU was able to win, but they've got to use that height more often. Those jousts, they should be winning probably 95% of the time.
Borum tried to get sneaky, but BYU was ready. Back to Borum, down the line. tooling it off the block of the Cougars. Marta Sitkovich again. Sitkovich having a huge game for the Ramblers.
Sitkovich now on 8 kills, 333 hitting percentage.
BYU has to get it over. A free ball for the Ramblers as they are running. BYU keeps it alive. Hammered and finished by the Cougars.
Yeah, right through that middle seam. Really strong swing on the outside by Mortensen, who's also kind of picked up her game. She had a slow start, but is now hitting 278 with 6 kills.
Big 12, all rookie, trying to keep her team in this matchup. Out of bounds is called. Point BYU as they put together a couple here.
Yeah, Borum's block just careened off the antenna, unfortunately for her, so BYU takes that point.
Hannah Billiter sends it away. Down the line, tapped over. Nice job there by Marta Sitkovich. 10-7. Couple of substitutions. A-10 setter of the year sends it away. Joust at the net, somehow kept alive. Somehow gets over. When you're good, you are good, and what a play. Esma Ajanovic as that one hung on the tape for what seemed like forever and somehow gets over. Look at this one again.
Well, when you're playing well, it feels like everything's going your way, but that one, a service error for Loyola Chicago, so giving it right back. But man, everything just feels like it's falling Loyola Chicago's way right now.
5 service errors now for Loyola Chicago. 11-8 here in set number 3. And the service ace, Ellie Mortensen, doing all she can, trying to keep BYU here in this one. BYU needs to win here in set number 3. They're gonna have to win out if they wanna move on to tomorrow's round of 32 matchup. Gonna have to pull the reverse sweep. Hitting error for Loyola Chicago, 11-10 now. BYU starting to put a couple of plays together.
Yeah, 3-0 run here for BYU. Loyola Chicago, if they want to stay ahead, they've got to put a stamp on this one right now. Don't let BYU get too much confidence. Huge swing.
Down the line, laser, able to find the floor. There was no room down that line. The Ramblers were able to find it. Sitkovich sends it away. Stuffed at the net. The block of the Ramblers comes up huge.
They are just locked in on a different level right now. Sitkovich is walking towards our commentary table to get to the service line, and she just looks laser focused right now.
Beautiful serve from the Ramblers. Sitkovich keeps it alive, tapped over. Not enough on that one from Shersty Strong. Falling and hitting the floor, 14-10 now.
And they quashed that BYU 3-0 run, and now they're on a 3-0 run of their own. I mean, this is exactly how you respond when teams are going on runs.
Set to Little. Off the block and into the seats. 15-10. And partner, I gotta be honest with you. On that last play, Amanda Berkeley was running up and down the sidelines like she was playing on the court. You think that Loyola Chicago wants this victory here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Amanda Berkeley went back to her playing days at Wisconsin right there, running up and down the floor. But man, Loyola Chicago right now, they just don't look like they can be beat. I mean, BYU is trying everything, and they really are playing better than they were in that first set. but Loyola Chicago has mounted this momentum, and they're playing better and better and better every single set. The blocking is better, the serving is better, the hitting is better. Everything is just reaching this ultimatum that BYU, eventually, you're going to have to try and reach that, if not get way better, but I don't think it's possible.
We take another look at the Pittsburgh quadrant here in the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship. Right now, Loyola Chicago up 2-0 on number 5.
A fantastic team, but right now, if you keep playing like this, if it's Loyola Chicago, they just have to keep playing this way, and they need to shut this game out. I think a 3-0 right now for Loyola Chicago is exactly what you need to go on some kind of magical run through this region.
I think Amanda Berkeley's words in the huddle, the old Al Davis from the 80s, just win, baby. Just win. Not able to keep it up. A big swing and finish from Claire Little. Little with her 8th kill of the matchup.
That's huge from Little. I mean, just stopping the run where it is after that timeout. When you lose a point after a timeout, it's pretty demoralizing, especially if you're the one that took the timeout. But really good job by BYU, resetting themselves, trying to stay in this, not getting too far behind.
Shersty Strong to send it away, trying to stop the bleeding. As that one goes long. The 9th service error for BYU. And the hits just keep coming as that one a little bit too strong. So 16-11. Monster finish from Brielle Kemavor. Kemavor's 7th of the matchup. I'm gonna keep saying this, we have not heard Brielle Kemavor's name enough here, especially with the way BYU's playing.
Yeah, and really the setting to Kemavor has kind of been a little suspect, honestly. With how tall she is, she can really get up there. She can touch probably about 10-6 if I had to guess. I mean, I would be setting it high to her every single time, just making her jump right over the Loyola Chicago players.
Somehow kept alive, but BYU not able to get it over. 17-10 now, a 5-point advantage. As Amanda Berkeley cheering louder from the sideline, trying to encourage her Ramblers. Esma Janovic sends it away to Little. Kept alive. At the net, finished by the Ramblers, 18-12.
Well, if you weren't feeling it before, can you feel it now? 6-point lead, and Loyola Chicago is just beating BYU at their own game right now at the net.
Well, just take a look around the bench for the Ramblers. A service ace, 19-12. Look around at the bench of the Ramblers. Look up at the fans of the Ramblers. There is just looks of amazement and wonderment on their faces. Almost not believing what they are seeing here play out in front of them, 19-12. Off the block, but kept up. Tapped over. Huge swing, and the finish. Olivia Lovett, her 6th.
Important note, BYU has no more timeouts. They have to dig deep now or else it is all over, but an 8-point deficit in the final set, oh, I don't know about that.
5 points away for Loyola Chicago. Free ball for the Ramblers. Up 8. Little into the block, but goes out of bounds. Point BYU as they end the 4-0 scoring run of the Ramblers.
Yeah, really nice, strong swing there from Claire Little. She's trying to put the team on her back. She's at 9 kills right now, but the hitting percentage just 114 for her.
Jordan Bruckner rotates in for the Ramblers, the 5'6" sophomore from Kansas. Another service error, the 10th for BYU, and Loyola Chicago is up 8. See Amanda Berkeley there pushing the sleeves up. She can feel it.
It's starting to all fall apart now for BYU. You can just tell the play's getting a little sloppier every single attack now. Good block there, though.
I was gonna say on the slide and stuffed by the block of BYU. BYU's gonna have to put a couple of points together. Lulu Ulave back to serve. Back-to-back points for BYU as Loyola Chicago couldn't keep it off the floor, 21-15.
Yeah, really nice block there on her own from Eli Mortensen, or rather from Kirsty Strong. It's fantastic and just trying to keep themselves in this game right now.
Tapped over by Remis. Out of the back row, somehow kept alive by the liberos. Falk over the top. Point Loyola Chicago, as that one was touched by a couple of fingertips of the Cougars. 3 points now.
3 points from history, too.
Anne-Marie Remis back to serve. A service ace for Remis. The 6th service ace for Loyola Chicago. 2 away.
It's all going to plan right now, and everything is just coming together in this last set.
23-15. Finished at the net. Kirsty Strong, her 8th of the matchup.
Yeah, really nice swing there from Strong. Like you just said, her 8th kill of this match. She's hitting .429. I'm just surprised they haven't fed her the ball as much.
Ramblers keep it up. Big swing off the hands of the libero. 24-16. Set number 3. Set point. Match point. Borum. A little bit too long from Borum. Man, you couldn't have wrote that any better. Borum with a little bit too much, a little bit too excited. 7-point advantage for the Ramblers. History is made in the first round. Oh, hold on just a moment. History isn't made yet. Heather Olmstead is challenging. Last-ditch effort, pulling the green card out. Didn't have any timeouts. She wants it looked at one last time.
You might as well take a look at it. It did look close on that sideline. We'll see a good view here. That's in.
Ooh, that's close.
I think that one is in. I think they did make the correct call. That was a very good look from our camera crew there. That's a good look, too.
We'll get the final call right here.
Confirmed.
And for the first time in program history, Loyola Chicago victorious in the NCAA Women's Championship. They now move on to the round of 32 after upsetting the 5 seed BYU Cougars.
I mean, what a match from Loyola Chicago, just from the first serve to the last. They were just unplayable. They were unbelievable the entire afternoon, I suppose it is. But 13 kills for Sitkovich, 10 kills for Ajanovic. Bree Borum ended with 32 assists and 4 kills. I mean, just an unbelievable match from the Ramblers.